This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I'm Chaney Crab.
Naveen Copperwise here. What up?
Coming at you live this week. Shout out to our sponsors, Direct Sound Headphones and Moontooth CBD by Jade Rabbit.
Yeah, buddy.
Just getting this set up.
Special live edition.
We had to go live because we went to our first metal... Well, we've been to a metal show this year. We went to see Chase Frazier, the number one most mentioned person on this podcast who hasn't been on the podcast. We went to see his band. He's got this cool, like, stoner doom band, and we went to see them live at the Catalyst. But last night we went to see Between the Buried and Me in Sacramento, and
super good time.
It was great. It was really fun being back at a show after all of this.
Totally. Sorry, I'm trying to figure something out. I closed the little stream window.
It's working.
It's working still?
Yeah, I'm on live on the page.
All right, that's what's up.
But yeah, so we went to our first show in a long, long time last night. And it was like, for me, it was super refreshing.
Yeah, it was straight up amazing.
Got it over there, Naveen? I can tell tell that you're...
You're going to have to banter for a second because I got to figure this out.
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, I need to get back on I closed the live page, so I don't know how to get back to it.
I wonder if you canceled the podcast. Let's see. Let me check really quick. Can someone comment and let us know if the podcast is rolling? Because that would be...
I think I canceled it on accident.
I don't think so. It seems to be like gathering more people.
Okay.
Hold up.
Yeah, we're basically the worst. Or I am, at least.
Naveen still doesn't have it straight after all these years. Yeah, people are like, it's still Gucci. People are in there commenting.
Still Gucci. All
yeah,
right.
So you must
I don't know how to get back to the moderator page, but...
I don't think you just roll to the KoperCrabb page and then you can answer questions through that. I don't know how to mute this. Hold on.
We're basically... It's kind of like a boomer trying to do a podcast.
Speak for yourself, dude. If I was in charge of this, nothing bad would be happening right now. I wouldn't have exited the page.
Nice try, Chaney.
But yeah, so anyway, are you good? You down to pay attention?
Kind of.
I
kind of wish that I was back on that moderator page. But,
you don't need to be on the moderator page.
I know. What if I need to moderate? You know what I'm saying?
What would you moderate?
Haters. Kick them on out. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're the only hater.
All right. Well, as long as it's working, then I don't really care. Straight up.
Yeah, I think we're good.
That's what's called a bumpy start. But you're over there with your iPad sound on. So.
Well, hold on. I can't figure it out either. Shit.
Oh, dude.
Okay, there we go.
This is
all right.
what a total meltdown looks like. We're not cutting this out of
I'm sweating.
We're not cutting this out of the when we put it on YouTube and on whatever that's called.
We don't cut anything out.
Unedited,
this
baby.
This is all real.
Rolling.
But anyway, so back to my story.
All right,
back to my really good intro there. My stitches are all gonna fall out because I'm smiling too hard.
All right, so we have a lot of stuff to cover here. Let me step in and handle this, Chaney, since
go ahead.
All right, yeah. Last night we went to a sweet metal show, prog metal, I guess you could call it.
Progressive metal, yes.
And that was Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was super sick, super fun.
If you guys watch the show a lot, sorry, Naveen. If you watch the show
again,
a lot,
Chaney's, God help me, dude. God help me.
If you watch the show a lot, though, we talk about BTBAM a lot because we love those guys. We love the band. We love those guys. And so
best guys.
And re-entering the show world at a sold out BTBAM show was pretty pretty sweet.
Pretty much ideal, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess, would you say it was weird going to a show again, Chaney? Because I remember saying to you, like, one of the first things, I was like, this isn't really weird.
It wasn't really weird at all. It's just one of those things where you'll go a long period of time without doing something that you're so used to doing, and once you're back at it, you're kind of like, oh, it's almost like it wasn't gone.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt, but I had moments of like, wow, this is kind of special that we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. It was special. I mean, it's been a really strange year and a half, and it's still strange. There's still, a lot of murky water to be.
A lot of ins and outs.
Yeah, a lot of ins and outs and what have yous to go through.
A lot of what have yous.
Yeah.
A lot of ins and outs.
And honestly, I don't know how many shows we'll be going to just because of the nature of things. So
100%.
It did feel really special. One thing that felt extra awesome about it that I'm sure that a lot of people out there can attest to is there's something about the camaraderie of shows and the camaraderie of metalheads and just being in a place with your peers and people who, this thing that we're into, it's a really niche thing.
Yeah.
And being back in a room of that many people who are into this crazy niche thing and just being surrounded by peers and all of these people who are into weird ass music, it just feels so good. And I really have missed that. Definitely. Because 100%. Both of us are total music nerds and we talk about music all the time.
Sure do.
No matter who's listening. So it's always really cool to like go back and experience the show environment.
It was definitely refreshing, I guess you could call it. Because I guess as a fan and as a creator of music, content creator, if you will. It's easy.
Never call yourself that again, Naveen. Jesus. Otherwise, we're gonna be divorced.
All right. So, as a music producer, you can get sort of. It becomes a little bit monotonous when everything is just done at home and you don't really get the interaction of people all the time. So it was cool to be there as a fan, and then surprisingly, quite a few people kind of stopped to chat with me and Chaney, and that was also really inspiring. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it really was.
Wasn't really expecting anybody to like know who we are, or like say, oh, how are you guys doing? A lot of people knew about what had happened with the accident and everything, and wanted to talk about it, and that was just super sick.
Which, if you don't know, so the accident that we're referring to, if you want to go get a detailed account of what happened, I think episode 70 of the podcast, Naveen did a podcast by himself.
Saddest podcast ever.
Yeah, and I honestly think that at that point, I hadn't gone to see my surgeon again, so we hadn't seen an actual picture of what happened to me.
Yeah.
So I got in a scooter accident, and at the point that Naveen recorded that podcast, we thought that I had really just broken my nose. And what actually was told to me when I went to my plastic surgery update, so something hit me in the middle of my nose. I don't know if I'm on camera or not right now, but something hit me right here.
You're on camera.
And in my upper lip, and it must have been a piece of metal because the center of my nose was flayed open, and my lip was completely cut open, and you could see through it, and it went through into my mouth. And then in my jaw area, there was a ton. I must have slid across gravel when I fell, because in my lower jaw area, my plastic surgeon told me that there was a ton of gravel buried in my jaw, to the extent that he thought I may have had chin implants when I went in to get surgery, because my chin was so badly swollen.
I didn't know you thought that.
So had this just been a broken nose, I think I would have been a little better off at this point. because what's essentially happening now is that I fell. Well, did you just replay that?
I got it. No problem.
That was really eerie. But so I have stitches lining the bottom and the top of my mouth, and they're going to dissolve in the next couple of weeks, and then the scar tissue will be able to be a little malleable again. But so at first it's been hard for me to enunciate words because my lips cannot necessarily close. So I really like making vocal videos and everything. So I've just been kind of waiting for my lips to be at a point where I can move them around again, because I'm way into enunciation and pronouncing the words that I say when I do vocals.
Right.
So I never lost my ability to do vocals or anything like that. Luckily.
But it's been, she didn't lose her ability to do it, but it's hard for her to do it correctly because of the amount of restriction of movement going on in her mouth.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at a point now where I think I can do vocals. I know I can do vocals for probably 5 to 10 minutes, but if I push it anywhere beyond that, then the next morning I will wake up with my face feeling like it got hit by a train. So we're still holding off on recording for probably a couple more weeks, because if you follow our band, you know we're directly smack dab in the middle of, kind of at the end. We're at the point where we're finishing our new album. So this has put kind of a wrench in the plans. But, with every situation like this that arises in life, I like to take it as a learning process. And I'm also really stubborn. So I'm not trying to wait much. I'm not trying to wait it out. I'm trying to do what I can do to get myself back to a place that I want to be in.
Get back into it.
So yeah, I'm feeling really good. Thank you so much to everyone who has reached out to me. It's been hard for me to reply to everyone, but I've been really trying. I didn't really expect the amount of love coming my way, and it really, really, really meant so much to me in a time where, although I knew that I was going to get back and be able to do the thing that I love to do, and I'm good at separating Chaney Crabb the person from Chaney Crabb the vocalist. I don't think those are one and the same, so it's not that huge of a harsh on me, but it is awesome to have people reach out to me and send their love in a moment of, kind of fear and anxiety for me.
Totally. So, and then also on top of that, like I said, was saying, having a few people come up to us last night and want to talk about it and hang out, and seeing them IRL, person to person.
Yeah.
That was also super cool,
Yeah, it really
and of course
was.
people were drinking, so they were, really, they weren't holding back, letting us know. I appreciate it for sure.
It's also really cool. We haven't really been out, and when we started the podcast, we were essentially done with touring for the foreseeable future. We have not been back playing shows since we started this.
Right.
So last night, it was kind of the first time we've gone out and hung out with people who are into the podcast and talked to us about that. So it was really, really inspiring. More than anything, it's cool to hear that people are into what we do, because you never know. When you're at home talking into a microphone, you're kind of just yelling into the void, really. Yeah. And that's all that we're doing. We like to talk, so we put microphones in front of ourselves, and all of this is kind of...
We're just trying to procure content. That's our main thing.
Yeah, content creation.
So... No, but we hope that when we say something that's positive or, pseudo spiritual, maybe pseudo uplifting, that someone can take away something from it, even though we're not the most enlightened people. But when you actually meet someone in person, it's really cool just to hear, hey, I listened to the podcast, or whatever, and it's helped me out and this, that, and the other thing. That's definitely awesome. And something I was actually asking today, Chaney, we should find out what day the first podcast came out, because I feel like it was right around this time.
It was. I think it was at the beginning of October, but we can check dates.
I'm gonna check it out real quick.
But yeah,
right
it's been almost 2 years. You know, we had a huge break last year.
We did have a little break.
But
it was a little break.
This podcast has been just a really cool experience, I think, for both of us. It's a nice way to like talk about the things we're into, get recommendations for things. I feel like we've made a ton of new friends doing it, and you know, we've been able to bring our people who we love and look up to onto the show and get to know a lot of them better just on a one-on-one basis.
That is true. Excuse to hang out.
Yeah, it's a total excuse to hang out or have friends. You know, before the days of COVID, it was friends over and drinking, and you know, we'll get back to that.
We're still doing a little bit of that.
Still doing a little bit of that.
But yeah, kind of like what Chaney was saying. When we started the podcast, we had been done with tour for the foreseeable future.
Right.
Just plug that into the headphone.
Oh, that's smart.
But then after that, you know, we really haven't interacted with people like on a personal level since then.
See, we never have to edit stuff like this.
Seriously the worst.
There we go. All right.
We had an episode a long time ago called Worst Episode Ever, but this might actually take the cake.
No, I don't think so.
But Chaney, are we getting some questions over there? It's kind of hard for me to like see the...
Yeah, we do.
I can't really moderate.
Yeah, that's the problem is that in order to see the questions rolling in, I have to keep clicking on this thing. So that's why you guys are hearing noise.
Not anymore, though. Not anymore.
So, uno momento, por favor.
But yeah, the BTBAM show, they played a lot of career-spanning set. That's what they wanted to call it. And that it was. Played some good old stuff. They played, I think it's More of Myself to Kill.
More of Myself to Kill.
I believe that's the first song on the first album. So that was kind of crazy for me to hear that one. I specifically remember the day that I heard that song and I found out about BTBAM.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, like I think I've said it on the podcast. Gonna say it again. I guess we're gonna call this one of the greatest hits. The vocalist of my old band, Animosity, came over, and he was like, dude, just found out about the sickest band called Between the Buried and Me. We threw it on in Frank's mom's living room.
Wow.
Yeah, rest is history.
You know, so I think this is why Alaska is my favorite. You know, I'll go down in history on the Alaska ship.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is because my friend Chaney had the Alaska guitar. You know, we all know the intro to Alaska, that shreddy intro riff. That was her ringtone.
That's a good ringtone.
Yeah, great ringtone. So Shayna got me into a lot of stuff back in the day, and BTBAM was one of them. Circa Survive was another. She was ahead of the curve on that stuff. And I will never forget that. Not to mention, the first time that I saw BTBAM, Animals was opening the tour. It was the first real Animals as Leaders run.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know Naveen, but we have a mutual best friend.
Yes.
Dustin. And Dustin was running around with you. And I just remember thinking, wow, Dustin's really running around doing everything for Naveen at this show. I didn't see you or...
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first time I saw BTBAM. Naveen was playing, and you know, we've had a lot of like BTBAM stories since then.
Yeah, a lot of history.
So it's kind of funny that
guys.
Yeah, it's kind of funny just the role that band has played in both of our lives, and
totally. We got the full experience going in there yesterday. They're having you know, with the COVID thing, there's like cops outside, metal detectors and stuff.
I was wondering if that's just a thing that they do though at that venue.
I don't know. I've never seen that.
I don't think it's because of this new
security.
protocol.
I mean, we've played there before. I didn't notice, but maybe that's because we were playing and we didn't get strip searched.
Touche. I've never been to a show there before that I haven't played.
Yeah. So
that could be it.
It was really fun, but we also got a bunch of tacos from Del Taco afterwards, which was as good as the show, maybe a little bit better.
Maybe better. Well, because If any of you are vegetarian or vegan out there, Del Taco has an entire Beyond Meat menu going on.
Yeah.
And
the veggie menu. Dude.
They have the veggie menu. And not to mention Del Taco's guacamole. Why isn't anyone talking about this?
It's
because
premier
it's insane.
Guacamole. Yeah, this place is like fast food, like a Taco Bell type situation.
Yeah.
But their guacamole is like real guacamole.
Maybe there is not Del Taco in the rest of the country.
There's really not. It's pretty regional. It does go to, I'm pretty sure they have it in Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. Those types of places.
I'm glad that you know everywhere that they have a Del Taco.
Yeah, well, I used to really like going there when I was a lot younger on tour.
So that's generally what our podcast is about, is
tacos
eating at Del Taco.
And Between the Buried and Me. We need to find something
and
else
Chase
to talk about.
Chase gets talked about a lot.
Well, Chaney, people flying in there with some
we
questions?
We got one question. Naveen, what was it like, speaking of BTBAM, what was it like tracking that guest spot for the BTBAM tune?
Yeah, so those of you who might not know, they did like a whole drum solo breakdown, I guess hoedown type thing, I guess you could call it.
As they do.
And me and a couple other drummers did like little guest solos. I was really stoked and kind of shocked they asked me to do it.
Right.
And it was really fun. I mean, not really that much to it. He sent me the part, and my drums are set up and they're pretty much always ready to go. So I just went into my room and I think I did it like twice maybe. And then
you played it through twice?
I think I did it 2 or 3 times. I told them I did it on the first try, just to sound like a badass.
Why wouldn't you say that? That's my favorite thing to do. Let me know if this works
out for you. I did it one time.
That's my favorite thing to do, is just like, if I am doing a guest part, no matter how many times I do it, it'll be like a nonchalant email back, like, oh yeah, just...
I tried it out.
Let me know how you feel.
Yeah. And then, I mean, this was great because they just wanted me to do whatever I wanted. It's not like they gave me a part to play. And then
they just wanted that Naveen flavor.
Yeah. So yeah, I did it a couple times, sent it on over, and that's it. That's that.
And also, let's
sweet.
say that you're
awesome.
Sandwiched in between some like scarily good company.
Some legendary people.
Mike Portnoy, you might have heard of him.
Might have heard of him.
I
From
personally,
Neil Morse band.
Neil Morse band.
Fame. And then Ken Schock, actually one of my favorites from the band Candiria.
And then, of course, the man himself, Blake.
Yeah, totally.
Richardson, who obviously blew everyone else's solo out of the water.
Because he did not do his twice.
He probably also...
he spent some time on it.
I don't know if you're allowed to say this out loud, but I'll say it for you, that they only sent you that tiny part. You didn't know what the song was or sounded like.
That's it.
But Blake got to hear everyone else's solo and then be like, oh no, heat it up.
Oh, okay. So he had the solos first and he's like, okay, I know what I'm up against here.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, his solo should be the best,
Right.
Makes sense.
He's the best drummer.
Yeah, and it's his band. I mean,
so I was wondering, like, I was watching the gong thing last night. Does Blake just bring the gong and only hit it one time at the very, very end of the set?
Yeah, that's it. That's like the climax.
That seems like a lot of work to do. Oh,
it
here's
does.
a good.
It looks cool though, and they have lights on it.
To Naveen, is there any unreleased Animosity songs that may see the light of day? Yeah, dude, it's called the Primal EP by Entheos. Right?
Like, not really. I mean, that's not really.
But it kind of is. It's like you and Frank and Evan. It's the same people.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't necessarily. I think we if it was Animosity, we might have came at it like a little bit more
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wouldn't try to be as weird.
Like rock and prog. Yeah, true that.
And it would be like, I don't know. There'd be a different vocalist. That'd be
true.
A thing.
Yeah. And the bass would not be audible.
The bass would be buried. Yeah. So there's that. But that is similar for sure.
I think so. I'm
thing
joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but yeah, it's the closest thing to it.
It's the closest thing to it.
Right.
For sure. And that's kind of how Entheos started in a way. Like I had this idea for my 30th birthday. I was like, hey, let's do like I didn't want to do like a big show, but I was like, hey, let's just do like a funny reunion show just like for my birthday party. Like I thought that would be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Not everyone was into it. And they were like, a certain person was like, I don't know, maybe you should just get Chaney to do the vocals. And I was like,
A certain person.
A certain person was like, you should get Chaney to do the vocals. And I was like, huh, that's kind of a good idea. And then
bada bing, bada
started
boom.
the band. So that's...
You didn't really answer the question, though.
Oh, yeah. There's not any new material.
And that's that.
I guess in the time that we would have been writing new material, I was just like totally fixated on doing the Flesh Rot album.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of did that. And then when I was done with the Flesh Rot album, the band was broken up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you started working on Flesh Rot and then you...
Well, I was kind of like, okay, it was like this. We went on a tour in November 2008. And then I think all of us just kind of wanted like a break from the band in a way.
Yeah. Which happens.
Yeah. But then like I guess not everyone in the band was down to have kind of like a double life. You know, like have something else going on other than the band. This is kind of a common problem within bands. Like some people will be okay with maybe like not touring full time and have like a part-time job or
right.
But then other members in the band are like, well, no, that's all I want to do is just that. If I'm not doing just this, then I want to go do something else.
Yeah, totally. Which
I get. You know, that makes sense.
I get that too, and it's why in bands don't generally last a really long time.
Not in our genre.
No, because there's not like a high monetary return. So
it's a bad ROI.
Yeah, so it's like
saying.
If you aren't touring is how we make money a lot of the time. Now, of course, you can make money on the internet as well, but touring, you're consistently bringing in money every night.
Yeah.
And you can kind of count on how much you're going to make. So if you're not doing that all the time, then you may not be making money, especially. And then after that, something to consider is that the money that you do make, if you're in a band of 4 or 5 people, well, generally in this genre, you're splitting the money equally between 4 or 5 people because everyone is kind of a songwriter and everyone's involved.
Right.
So there's a lot of turnover in metal bands just because of what Naveen just said. It's just hard. Not everyone stays on the same page. You know, people ebb and flow. It's hard to keep a relationship going in the first place because people change. Things change, priorities change. So that's kind of how that's the way she goes.
That was the way she goes, but specifically with Animosity. So I was kind of like really wanting to. I was getting like sort of good or okay at like recording my own music and whatnot, and then I had been working on the material for the album for quite some time. So I kind of just went into like recluse mode and dedicated all my time to just, you know, working my job so I could pay bills and everything, and then working on the Flesh Rot album. And then I guess at that point it was kind of like the dude who was sort of the band leader was like, I'm going to go back to school. I'm like kind of over waiting on you guys kind of a thing. And that was it. Yeah, that was that. I was kind of honestly relieved. I was like, yeah, I'm over it. Whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Sort of. It's kind of like, what else are we going to do? I never really saw myself as like if I'd watch like a documentary about like, I don't know, like Metallica or Rush or something that's like, we've been in this band since we were, 12. I never really saw myself as that type of a person who was just going to be in one band since they were like in high school, and that was like going to be their experience.
And shout out to the people who do make that happen. You know, there are a few bands, BTBAM being one of those bands that has.
But even them, they had a lot of lineup changes before Alaska.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they
and
did.
then so there weren't like total kids. They were probably in their 20s.
Right.
And then they got it, pinned down.
And, you know, they are a band. They don't party. They don't really drink, and I think that it's easier to kind of keep it together when it's a little more of a unified vision in that way.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know the inner turmoil of any other band or anything like that, but it's a crazy thing to keep going for 20 plus years, and that's why bands like them or the Black Dahlia Murder, any other band who has kept it going that long, it's like a lot of people look up to those guys because they've kind of made it fucking happen.
Totally. And it is definitely commendable, especially with all these things that we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised bands are touring right now, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a lot of risk to take on. I mean, it's already a risk to go on tour as this type of a band. But then
financially.
And then the tour could be canceled at any moment, pretty much.
Yeah, because, one of the things that goes into touring, so with merch, we're fronted a lot of the merch that we get, or you pay for it up front. So you go into tour with a debt, and that could be anywhere from like $5,000 to $50,000, depending on the band you are and how much merch you estimate that you're going to be selling on a nightly basis. So you go into the tour with debt, and if you have to cancel the tour or do something like that halfway through and you didn't make the money back, then you're kind of left scrambling and to figure out what to do with the merch, how to sell it.
Yeah.
You can go home and sell merch online. There are a few ways to get rid of it, but there's a lot of upfront costs that goes into touring. So it is definitely a huge risk to take. And, shout out to all of the people who are going out. I think that Black Dahlia, Carnifex, Rivers, Undeath tour starts in a couple of days. So
I hope it does really well.
Me too.
Is that coming here?
It's coming to Berkeley. We should go to it.
We should go if we can.
Yeah, I hope they kill it, because they're like, this BTBAM tour is happening, but I haven't heard of any like metal 5-band packages who are out there doing it. So I really, really hope it works out for them.
I do too.
Wish them all the best.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Chaney, can you drop through any of these cues? Are there any more?
Yeah, here's another one. Jamie says, "Hi guys, once the world opens up, have you ever thought about coming to New Zealand?" We have. Actually, we were working with a booking agent to get to Australia and New Zealand, like right as this was right as COVID kind of broke out.
Yeah.
So as soon as possible, we want to be there.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Chaney and I are kind of, we're a little more hesitant, I guess you could say, because it's just things aren't as assured for us. Like, we kind of bear the brunt of the load in our band. So, if something
being
goes,
that we are the members
we like
of
are
the band.
So it's like, we've been talking about it a lot, and we're like, when does it make sense to tour? And I honestly don't know at this point.
I don't either.
Because especially in New Zealand and Australia, like, they're dealing with massive lockdowns and very little free movement within the country.
Well, actually, I think that we should, since Jamie is from New Zealand.
Yeah, what's it like there?
What's it like? We hear all of these things on the news, and we don't really know what's actually going on. I don't have any ground forces
True
reporting back to us from New Zealand. So I'm curious what your experience is right now. What are the restrictions? Are bands playing shows? Is touring a thing? What's going on?
Yeah.
You let us know.
Totally. But I mean, I think over the last couple of years, we've seen things go from things are open, now they're not open, then this, like, I wouldn't want to be in another country right now to have something totally change overnight, and now I'm like trapped in some other country. You know,
Right.
no thanks.
Right.
So for me and Chaney, since we don't depend on touring for our livelihood, it's not as a priority for us right now. Obviously, we love doing it, and we would like that to be our main thing, but since it's not, I think it's just a lot of risk. And when you look at how things have been in the last, whatever, year and a half, is it 2 years? Can't be 2 years.
Let's see, it happened last
well over a year,
March,
right?
so it's a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unpredictable is what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at, you know? So we have a good thing at home. We have this podcast. We actually kind of, at the beginning of this year, made a conscious decision to like, hey, let's push a little bit harder online and take that a little more serious. And the band has grown.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that we lost members, that we're just a 2-piece now. Even with
we haven't put out music in 4 years. Wait, what's the year?
We put out one single in like a year and so and change ago.
Yeah, and our last album came out in 2017. So.
Yeah. So despite all that stuff, we've still managed to like grow the band from home. So it really has got me thinking like, what does it look like if we keep going like that? And that's not to say that I don't want to play a live show. Obviously I do.
Yeah, badly.
It's just, dang, man. I think for those who have gone on tour, it's such a commitment.
Yeah.
You know, whereas we could make a video, and I mean, we made some random TikTok video, and it's probably got more plays than everybody who's ever seen us live and every video we've made all combined.
Yeah, that's the thing
So it's like,
that's the thing about the world today is that you can actively build your band online. And Entheos has been a touring band now for almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years since we formed the band in December.
That's crazy.
Wait, it's 2021? Okay. Yeah, 7 years. Yeah.
Jeez.
So we've done like all of the touring. We've gone on the road, opened for all of the bands and done all of that. And we've lost money, we've made money, and you know, we've gone through the motions. And I think that now we're a little more focused on, you know, what can we do from our homes.
Exactly. Because at this point, from what I'm seeing, the way I'm looking at it, touring is like a luxury. It's not. It was already becoming this way. I noticed that, like when I was in my first band, the way that you got your name out there, you hit the road. So you're playing in front of a crowd, nobody knows you, we're trying to win them over. Right. But I think as time goes on, from that point to now, that's just not the case. I really don't see that even in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you do that?
Right.
You know, why would you do that? Why would you spend all this time, like literally 24/7, your whole entire existence, eating shit and sleeping in a fucking van to win over like a couple people a night? I mean, that's just not a good business model.
I do wonder that, and I never want to be the person to see a friend of mine or anyone announcing a tour and say, man, why are you wasting 30 days on this tour that probably doesn't really have like a name headlining it, isn't really like going to be the show when it comes to town? Why do you want to go and probably spend money on tour when you could get yourself to a place where when you go on tour, it makes a little more sense? Like, let's say that you, instead of going on tour for 30 days straight and spending all of the money that you have, you take all of those same resources, the 30 days and the money, and you get some really good camera equipment and you do some pushing of your band on the internet, you do some promotion. And I'm not talking about, you don't have to start a YouTube channel and do reaction videos. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're in a band, you have material to lean on. Yeah. You can take what you do and you can make it into a thing where people are going to see who you are online. And, you know, it's a weird road to navigate, I think, because we're still kind of in the first 10 or so years of the internet really, really being a useful tool in building careers. But there is a point where you have to think about the actual business of running a band, because that's another reason why there's such great turnover in bands, because there are bands that you hear about, like there are names who do not make any money.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be smart with this and figure out, how are we going to make money? How are we going to keep this thing going? Because although none of us began metal bands to make any money, in order to keep the ship running, there has to be some source of income.
Yeah. Or how's it gonna, on the flip side of the coin, like let's say you don't really care if you make money or not. Well, how are you gonna support the project?
Well, that's what I mean.
You're not gonna be able to do that by going on a 60-day tour and not getting any. That's gonna wreck you.
If anything, that's gonna kill your momentum as well. Because if you go on that kind of a tour and you don't do very well, you do not come home very inspired about what's going on.
100% no.
And you might be like looking at college. You might be like running through your local community college, like what other career field can I, what can I do? Yeah.
But so that's why I think even in the last, since the whole, COVID thing, it's become a lot more commonplace to do stuff online. And as I was watching, Between the Buried and Me is a really established, well-known band.
Right.
And they had this killer show going, and they're the only band who played. So they had a great thing going. The show had a really good vibe and everything. But I was kind of seeing shows going more in that direction. Like, oh, I get to see this band online all the time, and now I finally get to see them. It's like a celebration.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to be honest, that's way better. That's way better than just grinding it out. And dude, both Chaney and I noticed that the dudes in the band were like way more into it on stage. You could tell they were just super stoked to be there.
I know, we had a great joke. We didn't get to see Paul after the show, but we had a great joke that was Paul Wagner is the only man on earth who has cut off his hair and become more of a rock god without the hair. Yeah. It's like the opposite of what happened to Metallica in the 90s.
Yeah, 100%.
Paul was just up there like owning the stage. It was Paul. I
was like, look at him go, dude.
It was BT Paul.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I see shows going more in that direction, and you don't really necessarily need to have the shows so packed full of 5-6 bands or whatever, because those are all like logistical things. So it seems like it makes more sense in my mind, and I can see it go. Like, people love going to shows, and I don't like that's not gonna change,
right?
And I don't want it to change.
Same. I love going to shows.
I don't advocate for that whatsoever. I just think it's probably going to be more rare and more, it's not going to be you're seeing your favorite band every weekend anymore. I just don't see it.
I don't know.
I just don't see
it. I don't know. It's hard to like predict anything.
Yeah, of
because
course.
If you talked to me 6 months ago, my predictions were a lot different. If
Totally.
you talked to us at the beginning of the pandemic, I thought this was a fluke and that everyone was going to be off of tour for 3 weeks and we were all going to be bummed that we canceled everything because...
When's this over? Let's get back.
Yeah. So, we're talking about navigating new waters with the internet. I mean, Corona, this whole pandemic, now we're really navigating new waters. No one knows what the hell they're doing and it's all just a crapshoot.
Totally. But that's, obviously it goes without saying that Chaney and I are not like experts
at all.
We're just sitting over here.
We just like to talk.
We're
we like to
1.5 beers in a piece. And
I would like
here.
Another beer because I'm only 0.7.
0.7.
So Dan David says, I definitely agree with you both that the way bands make money has changed over the recent years, but the artist split on streams from the bigger platforms needs to improve. I mean, I can agree with that tenfold.
Crazy.
You know, I love Bandcamp, and I know that we all love Bandcamp, but I was appalled by how much money Bandcamp takes from people.
He's probably more referring to like Spotify, right?
I think that the streams from bigger platforms. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was thinking live artist streams.
Yeah.
Or live show streams, you know, because that's become a thing this year too. So I don't really know how any of those platforms work, but one thing is like, the way that Bandcamp works is they're taking a percentage off of every sale, whereas a site like Big Cartel is taking like $19.99 a month.
But I think they do take a little bit of a fee on top of that, don't they?
No.
Really?
No. Who takes a fee is like Stripe or PayPal will take a small fee.
Yeah, all right.
But I
So
remember specifically on Bandcamp, we had there was like a $75 donation that someone made to us, and
they get like
$19 what was taken out of the donation, and I was just like, this is fucking highway robbery.
I know.
And no matter what way artists look, sure, that's a better percentage than Spotify, where we're getting, you know, virtually pennies, if that. Yeah. But can't there be a place that isn't so goddamn greedy and just milking artists for everything that they're worth? It's insane.
To me, the Spotify thing is, I was thinking about it one day, and I had kind of like a vision, and I was like, Spotify's got to go. It's so great for the listener, but it's just absurd.
Well, I would
absurd.
I would also argue that it's music. Okay. So an argument that I would bring forth for Spotify is that Spotify is also a great asset in people finding out about your band.
I agree.
So,
but does that mean that it has to be every single song that everyone's ever made
on Spotify?
You know,
full catalog.
Maybe there's like a couple songs. I mean, I don't want that to happen as a music listener. Like, are you kidding me? Spotify is the sickest thing to ever happen ever. But it might be the type of thing like, you know, heroin or something. It's like, yeah, it's great. I mean, it probably feels great to be on heroin, but that's kind of not good. Kind of not good of a thing
for society as a whole.
Yeah, like, is it great to have? I don't know. I just feel. I feel like in order for musicians to make money, and I'm not complaining by any means. Like, I am a fan of music. So for people who are fans, it's great. But for people who are creating music, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
Where you're not going to get any money off of Spotify. I mean, you know, I see people complaining online, like, you'd have to do 300,000 streams to get, you know, minimum wage, and it's like, I don't even expect to get minimum wage off of Spotify, off of my music. But the idea of getting like basically nothing, and then if you aren't on there, you're just irrelevant.
Right.
Unless
you're
seems problematic.
Or Taylor Swift.
It seems problematic to me.
It does to me too. I wish that. So in the best business interactions that I've had, whoever is the person who is above me. So let's say, you know, like a talent agency working to get this or that. They're the people who they do not take money from you until they have proven themselves as a valid asset to have in your camp. Mm-hmm. So it would be cool if something like Spotify worked in that way. Like, hey, we're getting your band 100,000 monthly listeners. Now give us a little piece of the pie.
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. I've never thought of it that way, but that would make a hell of a lot more sense rather than just like, oh, it's there. I don't know. we're going to take all the whatever revenue there is. We're going to take it. I
Right.
mean, it's just one of those things that seems a little too good to be true. It's kind of like when
Well, it is too
like
good to be true.
Napster and like LimeWire was out. You know, it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. This is like really sick.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to give. But honestly, the days of bands or artists or anyone making a ton of money off of their music, I think those days are gone.
Okay, so let me clarify my position. Is Spotify going to go away? No, it's not going to.
Right.
Would it need to go away for bands to make some money off their music again? Yes.
It wouldn't need to go away.
Absolutely.
It'd need to be there. There would need to be some kind of artist uprising lawsuit type thing toward them. And I
Seriously.
don't know what will happen with that. I think that things will change inevitably. I don't know how long it will take. But yeah, Patrick Delphia said Spotify is just promotion. And you know, honestly, that's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, but I'd have to disagree with you, brother, because yes, it is promotion, and I've definitely found out, and I listen to more bands than I probably would have without Spotify.
Same.
But are they getting my dollar? And the answer is no. When I was a kid, I had to go buy CDs every week.
Yeah, but
That's
how much?
So I spent a lot of money directly giving money to labels. I mean, I'm sure the bands are getting screwed at that point
see,
too.
that's
but
another thing is that in order for us to sell physical copies, if we're the people who are making the most money are the people who are independent, who aren't, you know, paying per unit or whatever. Generally, you're paying, let's say $4 or $5 a CD to get your music in the first place, which, yeah, that's a great turnover. You're making a lot more money off of a physical CD than you are off the internet. But someone is taking money from the artist, no matter which way you spin it, unless you're fully independent and you're funding all of this stuff yourself.
yeah.
Someone is taking money from you at any, you know, there's always a way to cut a little piece of that pie off of the artist
Of course.
revenue.
And it's always been that way, for sure. And I mean, I get what Patrick is saying for sure. And because there also is the added thing of a lot of those people that listen to your music on Spotify just wouldn't have bought your CD, and they probably
Yeah.
just wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't actually have a huge problem with it. You know, like I'm not one of these people who is posting stuff online like we need to, you band together, and like I'm just saying, like, as long as that's around, you're probably not going to be making money off of just your music. And I also need to clarify that within death metal, there was never a time where we were making a shitload of money off of physical copies.
No,
so,
we make money off of merch.
yeah. So to me, it's kind of like whatever, you know.
So with all of this being said, though, and I know that I'm just preaching to the choir here because in metal, we're a merch buying bunch. We love wearing our favorite band shirts. We love owning stuff. You know, Naveen and I collect vinyl.
Totally.
And we're always out there buying, and I love supporting
Dude.
artists.
I think that's the best thing that you can do.
If you can, yeah, go buy merch.
Yeah, like you hear a band on Spotify, you like them a lot. It's never been easier to go to their merch store and buy a shirt, you know?
Yeah.
I think we both try to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Or try to buy an LP from them or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, for sure.
Vinyls do have a great return. If you guys want to know, like, how can I give the band the most bang for my buck? Vinyl,
vinyl.
generally you're buying like a vinyl unit for like, I don't know, $11, if that. And we can usually sell them for like $30. So that's a really, really good amount that we're making back off of that. T-shirts are great too because they cost about $4 a piece.
Yeah.
$5 a piece. We can charge $20 for those.
Yeah. But so, I mean, what I'm saying here is just if you look at like the sheer volume, the numbers of all of it, how many shirts and vinyls do I own of what's in my Spotify library? It's like none. It's basically none.
I own a lot.
It's basically none.
But I like
Probably
to,
like 10
anytime
shirts
that I'm
max.
like a little got a little beer in me. I like to go online. And speaking of, I haven't even talked about this yet. Speaking of band shirts. So yesterday before the BTBAM, we decided last minute, okay, we're going to do the 3-hour drive for BTBAM. I went to wash all of my clothes at the laundromat and I left so that I could
pin down
so that I could take a shower. And someone stole all of my clothes from the laundromat. So August was a really shit time. And two shirts in particular, someone stole I have a Cannibal Corpse all over print Violence Unimagined shirt that was stolen, and I'm going to reorder one of those tonight. And then I have a vintage Pink Floyd shirt that was stolen. And it really pissed me the fuck off.
Should we get like a GoFundMe going on? Replace
Chaney's 2 shirts. Dan David. So that was just a little off the point, but
also I will say that things started to get kind of good in this comment section because of the
Spotify. Yeah, this is Spotify. Fantastic. I love when you guys because this is I love having discussions about this stuff because someone always hits us off to an idea that neither of us would have thought about before. David said, I feel Spotify / iTunes, etc. just robs the artist of their work. Wait a minute. Let's not pin iTunes in this as well, because the money that we get every month, which
I think he probably means Apple Music.
Okay. Apple Music for sure. iTunes though, we do make money off of. And then they have to monetize other aspects of the band brand. Do you guys think Metallica, or more specifically Lars, missed a trick in the 90s with Napster? I mean, that's when all this downloading and streaming kind of started. I feel like if people would have had, I feel like now a lot of people probably regret making fun of Lars's position with Napster.
I know, but it's really fun to make fun of Lars. That's probably the best thing.
I mean, he's got the best snare heard around the world.
Well, he just came out with a new signature snare.
I was really bummed that it wasn't like the Saint
Anger
tone.
I'm saying they should have doubled down.
Capitalize on that.
It should have been. It has the Saint Anger artwork on it.
Yeah.
Because literally all the comments were just like, just razzing him about the Saint Anger snare. Yeah. But I think, I'm sure his new snare sold out really quickly or whatever, because it's like the Black Album snare. So it's all like blacked out,
right,
and everything.
It's probably sick.
I bet it's great.
I want to hit
Obviously,
it. I want to hit it with a stick.
Freaking Thomas snare. It's going to sound really good. But if they had a double down on the Saint Anger snare, dude, come on.
I really wish they would have done that. I mean,
I would have been I want it. If it was, I want the Saint Anger snare.
I would be interested to see the sales on Saint Anger or like the streams on Saint Anger compared to other Metallica albums, because that almost like rejuvenated Metallica's relevance in the 2000s. What do you think?
Check Spotify?
Hear me out.
Should we get the
You know what I mean? It was the snare heard around the world. If it wouldn't have sounded like that, then most people wouldn't have checked out Saint Anger.
Okay, do you dare me to get the facts?
Also, Some Kind of Monster is one of the best, if not the best, band documentary of all time.
Unless you're an actual Metallica fan.
I rewatch it annually.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. It's like right up there with Wild and Wonderful Whites as one of the best documentaries of all time.
It's definitely serious. Well, it's kind of odd that Metallica's totally all over Spotify, right? I mean, they don't seem to have a problem with that.
Well, I think if you can't beat them, join them. And Metallica probably... Here's another thing about Spotify. There are artists who are making a lot of money off of Spotify. It's just not like as much as they would like to be making.
Okay, Chaney, sorry to like totally just burst your bubble right now, but out of the top 10 songs of Metallica, not one of them is off of Saint Anger.
Yeah, but what are they all?
Enter Sandman.
Well, duh.
Nothing Else Matters.
Okay.
Unforgiven.
Okay.
Master of Puppets. One. Sad But True.
Yeah, I mean, when you have...
these are classics,
when you have
bro.
that discography, though, obviously... Okay. Jesus.
When you start naming off the Metallica hits, it's like, come on now.
Metallica's right up there with the Eagles as far as like, well, I would know any Metallica song that came on, but with the Eagles, it's like, or with Fleetwood Mac, it's like, I mean, I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan, so I know all the songs, but a person may be surprised to find out, oh, this is an Eagles song too? This is a Fleetwood Mac song too?
When we watched the Eagles documentary, I was like, every hit song, every classic rock song is the Eagles. That's weird.
It's true. Or Fleetwood.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, I'm not like proud or anything, but I never really was a Metallica fan. And just sitting here reading those titles off, I got like chills.
So what were you a fan of?
I was more into like Sepultura.
That's not even like the same generation.
I know, but that's like the closest thing to.
Who says that? Who says, yeah, I was never really into Metallica. I was more into Sepultura.
I think a lot of people could say
I don't think anyone would say that. I think they'd be like, yeah, I was more into like Slayer. Or here's one.
I know, but like Sepultura is kind of the same
I was more into
generation.
Megadeth.
I never got into Megadeth, and I don't even know any Megadeth songs.
I know one Megadeth song, and it's Holy Wars. Holy Wars? Don't know.
I thought that was
I don't know.
Thy Art Is Murder.
It's really, you guys, it's really hard for me to smile with these stitches in my mouth, but like they're gonna rip right out because of this.
I'm about to get smacked. But yeah, I mean, just reading these titles, jeez.
Yeah, sends chills down one's spine.
It's like an American treasure, dude.
You know what's sick? Like low key, we're on Metal Blade now, so I like feel it in my heart because of.
Are these albums on Metal Blade?
I don't think they're on Metal Blade. What's the story there? Slagle was the first person to sign Metallica. I don't know.
Let's get the.
I don't know, but we're like 7 steps. We're like 7 steps of Kevin Costner removed from Metallica. So I'm pretty down for that.
Wait, what's Kevin Costner? Okay, Metallica is. Oh, Chaney, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You're gonna love this, dude.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I hope you're sitting down. I hope you're sitting down, dude.
I'm sitting down. I only sit down since my scooter accident.
True. Hold on. Damn it.
What's up?
I lost it.
All right.
I don't know how to use
Wikipedia. Terrible news.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Metallica. Oh, wait. Never mind. I read it wrong.
Jeez Louise.
I read it wrong. My bad.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, it says Metal Blade Records is a heavy metal independent record label founded by Brian Slagle. I read it as Metallica is a heavy metal band founded by Brian Slagle.
I think he found them, right?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
I would need a little more time. We're supposed to be like a metal podcast, and like we don't know anything about metal.
We don't know shit about metal.
Yeah.
We listen to death metal, dude.
Yeah.
Screw all this mainstream.
And even within that, someone
metal?
could be like, ask me something about like some Morbid Angel history. I'd be like,
I actually probably know more about progressive metal than I know about anything too.
I mean, the most thing that I know about is going to be like early 2000s death metal. That's what I was like. That's what I was around for.
And you don't even really know that much about that, do you?
Correct. I've always been sort of somewhat aloof, but at the same time,
too busy making it, folks.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't listen to it. That's what I'm
saying. So, Chaney, should we end it here?
We got a couple more questions. Hold on.
All
right. Dan David, that OG Lars Thomas Nair. You know what's weird? Some people say Tama, some people say Tama. I are on the side of Tama.
You know why I say Tama?
Because the people who work at Tama say Tama.
That's right.
But I still hear people who are endorsed by Tama say Tama.
Or Tama.
Or Tama.
I know somebody who's quite high up as a drummer.
Very well known.
Been on this podcast.
Been on the podcast.
Says Tama.
We love him.
Love him.
Love him to death. He says Tama still.
He's going to get an invite to our wedding.
He's coming to the wedding.
Still says Tama, though.
Still says Tama. That might get him off the list. That's another rule I have. If you say Tama,
we're done.
We also have a very good friend
we're fucking done.
We love dearly, who refers to Nam as Nam. And that's like my favorite.
Says Nam. He probably has like a theory on why it's like,
Nam.
Yeah, like why it has to be like that grammatically.
He's totally that type. But I always like when he gets back from Nam and he's like, yeah, I just went to Nam.
Yeah, and nobody calls it that.
No one.
Right?
I've never heard
Every single person is calling it Nam.
All right, let's take a vote. What do you call it? Nam or Nam?
So wait, was there another question?
Yeah, so he had years ago was nearly as bad as the Mike Portnoy Melody Master Snare. God knows what this new one sounds like. I've never heard that snare, but I love Portnoy, and we don't talk bad about anyone who plays with Neil Morse around here.
Word.
Around these parts.
Would we get like taken off if I like played the teaser for my for Lars's new snare?
Yeah.
I can't play it.
Why?
Just play it on YouTube. Because he's like, oh, it's like it's black. It's like everything on it is black. You know, like the Black Album. That's like all I can say about it.
Sick. It's like dope, dude. I would love to see a documentary about the snare.
He's like, it's like metal
some kind
and it's
of
black. And,
some kind of snare. Some kind of snarester.
I will say though, so Travis
Lavrier.
Yeah, he's like a huge Metallica fan, like mega fan. And he was, because we were like, oh, you know, he's people that are mega Metallica fans, like, are super bummed on Some Kind of Monster, the documentary. Yeah.
That's from our 1-person poll that we took of Travis.
And Frank.
Oh, Frank's bummed on it
He's
too.
like, oh, I can't watch that.
We took a 2-person poll.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a majority of the Metallica fans that I know personally.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the vibe, like, it's not chill, but Travis was like, oh, you got to watch the, like, real Metallica documentary.
Yeah.
You remember that, Chaney?
Yeah, he made us watch it.
Yeah, it was like the sickest thing ever.
It was so good. It was them tracking one of the albums.
I think it was doing the Black Album.
It was one of the
and
albums.
I was like, damn, this is, okay. After I watched that, I totally got it. I was like, okay, that's the coolest band ever. I get why everybody would love that.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a strange world to grow up in, to be like 8 or like 13 when Some Kind of Monster came out? And that's what you think Metallica is? Yeah, and you don't know that they're like the most ass-beating, ripping metal band ever?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what happened to me. You know, I didn't really know. I know, obviously I knew their the hit songs, you know, everybody knows those.
Yeah.
But I just never really took them seriously as like, I mean, okay, that doesn't sound right. Like I didn't take them seriously, but I took them seriously. I just never really like listened to them a whole lot. So when I checked out the documentary, it's like, this is amazing.
It was really, really good. Really good. What's a band that, like...
Here we go.
Oh, you might get us taken.
Getting taken
Yeah,
now?
you'll get us taken.
Hey, everybody.
Anyway, that was a clip.
Should we just risk it? Just
Some
let it go?
kind of snarester.
I wish we could just let this
risk
go.
Risk it all.
Should we just risk it all right now?
Go for it. So what's like a band, Naveen, that everyone seems to like love in metal that you don't love?
Whoa.
I know mine. Everyone keeps telling me to listen to them though.
I like. I'm gonna try to
tell us in the comments. I want to try to find a way to like.
I want to try to find a way to like be like a politician and like wiggle my way out of this question.
Oh, you're gonna wiggle your way out.
I guess what I'd have to say is I usually only have a few bands that I'm really into at a time. You know, so
most of them.
I don't really. It's not that I like.
But I'm talking about classic. Whoa! Before you like send yourself to metal jail, I was talking about classic bands.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, it's Slayer.
Yeah, that makes
not
sense.
a huge Slayer fan. I've never, y'all. I'm not a huge punk fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then furthermore, it's like thrash isn't my thing. But I've recently been getting it. Like I like new thrash. Like I like Havoc a lot. Municipal is sick.
Yeah.
Iron Reagan is sick. Are they thrash? They're crossover thrash. I like all the new stuff I hear, but for some reason...
No Slayer. I don't know. I think it's weird to say that. I think I talked about this on our last podcast with Derek and Justin. I've kind of like changed how I am a lot. I can get into stuff and be like, okay, let me try to understand this thing.
Yeah.
And that's more how I am now. I don't really openly like despise bands anymore.
I don't
I feel like that's more of a thing that you do when you're like in your 20s
or 13.
Yeah. Like now I'm just like, okay, if I hear people talking about a band or whatever, I'll check it out and I'll be like, I kind of get why people think that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, here's the stuff that I don't really like about it or why I wouldn't really want to listen to it. But having that sort of mindset has actually opened up doors for me that I never thought that I would be into, like raw black metal.
Yeah, totally.
Totally something that I would hate my whole life. And then I'm like, let me check this out. Let me try to like get into this, right?
Totally.
And then I'm like, this is kind of sick. I kind of get it. I get where people are. You kind of have to like get where they're at, and it's not necessarily where you are because you've had all this other stuff leading up to where you're at the time.
Right. I think that's important too. I think it can definitely open your mind to a lot of stuff that you may not have thought that you enjoyed. Yeah, I mean,
that was a really good way to wiggle out of that question,
true.
Huh, Chaney?
Yeah, but I sold myself out. But you know what? I think I'm gonna go back and listen to some Slayer albums.
Yeah, I see you doing that a lot too. A lot lately. Like maybe there's bands that you like. Mastodon. We were just talking about. You didn't ever dislike Mastodon.
I actually and
you never really got into their like full thing, and you're like, well, maybe I'm gonna have to go check it all out,
Yeah, like I like that one song from Blood Mountain. God, something about forest men. I've always loved that song.
Sitting here with the Thomas 30th anniversary.
We're gonna get cut. But
I'm about to put that on one of my little sample
the weird
pads.
thing is that every band that I like love and fawn over is a Mastodon derivative.
True.
Right?
Very true.
I love so many bands who love Mastodon, but I've never fully done the Mastodon thing.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to be like a mid-30s Mastodon fan. Which, you know what? Anyone who wants to hate on people for getting into music, like at a certain time, fuck you.
I know. Just whatever. I didn't hear it then.
Oh, no. While I was busy listening to thousands and thousands of other bands that I can school you on, I forgot to listen to Mastodon's discography, and I'm just now getting around to it. Sorry.
Like, where were you at, dude? And
how dare you? Gatekeepers of metal. Ugh. God.
Damn, Chaney, let's loot. Chaney unhinged.
I know I've been a little mean on this podcast. It's because I have stitches in my mouth, you guys. Just forgive me, okay?
Yeah.
I love you.
I'm mad.
No, okay, there are some questions. See, it's like now that we're an hour in, they're rolling in. Jack Wilson says, who would be your dream guest on your podcast? I think, can we brainwave it to each other? Because there's someone who I'd love to nerd out on about a certain album.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Frederick Thorndahl.
Why
don't we just ask him?
Good old Freddie.
To be on.
I would love to have him on, and I want to know everything about Soul Niger.
Because honestly, I see podcasts that are like smaller than ours. They get like huge guests. Yeah.
I think that it's just because we don't ask anyone to be on our podcast.
We're too shy.
Like,
what if he thinks that
everyone
we're stupid?
who we've ever asked to be on the podcast, you've seen an episode with them. Except for a couple people, because Naveen, for instance, lost our episode with our friend Billy, who I actually wanted to take a minute to talk about that. Our friend Bill Oberender, he's done merch for every band that you like, pretty much. Us, Contortionist, Intronaut, Hatebreed is his main gig now. He does Leprous, The Ocean, every band. So his brother got into like a crazy accident and really hurt his leg. And there's a Kickstarter up right now to donate money for Bill's brother. And if you guys have anything to spare, $1, anything, go to the Kickstarter, hit Bill up with some money, because I can assure you that he's been out there like providing good times for people at shows and he's the reason that I like IPAs.
And he bought us Soul Niger on vinyl as a wedding gift.
Right.
So
he did buy us Soul Niger on vinyl as a wedding gift.
And we didn't even get married.
And we aren't even married.
So Chaney got cold feet.
And since Naveen has been dropping the content creator thing this whole time, I'm thinking about pulling out of the wedding and the band and the podcast.
Well, the wedding was going to be a
just-
great piece of content.
We were really looking forward to all of the drone content we were going to get of the wedding.
I have a freaking drone. I never even use it.
So yeah, good old Freddie Thorndahl. I think
That would be pretty sweet.
he'd probably be really annoyed by.
But you know who I'm going to go with definitely get on the show?
Who?
Is Morgan Agron.
Oh, I would love to have him on. Who also played on Soul
That's what I'm
Niger.
saying.
It'd be
Let's get
sick
him
to
on.
have John Gallagher on too.
I was thinking, John, why don't we start trying to get guests that we're not friends with, Chaney?
Wow.
What do you think?
That'd probably be cool. Shake.
Because we're always just like, oh, we're only going to ask our friends, and then because we don't want to be we don't want to look stupid.
There is someone coming on next month who
But
is
we look
not our
stupid all the
friend,
time, so it doesn't
who
really matter.
Their PR reached out to us about being on, so there's that. That'll be cool to talk to.
Oh, really? Well, that sounds official.
Okay, so Estes Williams says, "What's up? Finally home. Whoa, finally home from Iraq, and get to see the podcast. From what I'm seeing, you are in the military, so thank you a ton for your service.
Yes, thank you very much.
Shout out to you. We
are just people who talk on microphones and are lame. We don't
and
actually
you're out
do
there
anything good.
doing good for
Yeah.
the world. So thank you so much. You guys are blocked over there for some reason. I think that Iraq is really blocky.
Like it might not just be us.
It might not be us. It might be Iraq. It's not us. It's them.
Is it because there's a girl on here who's
I don't know. I don't.
just kidding.
I don't know why it is, but yeah, that sucks.
Huh. I wonder if it's like other podcasts are blocked, not just us.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
interested to know how's Joe Rogan looking over? Are they letting Joe Rogan in
I don't know.
Iraq?
I don't know. Maybe he's
Iraq?
talking about the internet. Is the internet on base? Is it like with U.S. internet or is it Iraqi?
Iraqi.
I have no
Iraqi.
idea.
Also, can you get one of those blockers? You know what I'm talking about? I have one for when we go to Europe.
Yeah.
I have this. I can't remember the name of it. I
It's like
always
IP.
can. Yeah, I have an IP blocker on my phone so that I can always get access to all Netflix movies. Because so there we go.
So let me look into that.
Jack Wilson says, "Morbid Angel for me. I like a few songs, but wasn't a fan." All right, well, we cannot agree on that one with you, Jack.
I'm really just into Domination, to be honest. I'm
Same.
kind of a poser Morbid Angel fan.
I am too. I love Domination.
Yeah, we like
Where the
Domination a
Slime
lot,
Live.
and we've never really.
If you
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I've been listening to them since I was a kid. I know everything, but I really don't.
But if you listen to the last Entheo single, "Remember Your Dust," we wrote that song in the spirit, like we had been listening to a shitload of Domination.
Yeah.
And we were like, we want to write a song that's like kind of like Where the Slime Live, which it sounds nothing like that, but we were definitely jamming that album a lot when we wrote that. Josiah Robinson says, "It's definitely a teenage boy tactic. I just tell people it's good. I'm just not a fan." I agree. You know what's a good thing to say is, it's not for me.
It's not my thing.
It's not for me.
You know what I usually say? I usually just straight up lie, dude. Oh yeah, this is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good or bad to lie?
Lying is bad. I think we've been over this
They'll
on
be
the
like,
podcast before.
oh, check out this band, dude. And depending on how well I know them,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't know them at all, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's definitely sick for sure.
No, but if I know you, I'll get in heated
And then
debates with
depending
you
on
about
how
it.
much of a friend you are, is the level of resistance I'm gonna give you.
The better the friend, the more resistance.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, no. If you're a really good friend, I'm gonna be like, dude, come on, seriously.
How dare you? How dare you recommend that
But
to
usually
me?
my good friends don't show me stuff that I wouldn't like. They kind of know me good enough to be like, hey, Naveen would like this. Psh, check it out. Or if they know, they won't dare show me something that they know I'm not going to like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
he's definitely not going to like it. I'm not even going to show it to him.
Vanessa Hall said, "Are we drinking Mind Haze?" Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Shout out Mind Haze.
Shout out my Hicks. Good stuff.
Firestone Brewing Company. They
Country.
say they're from California. I don't know if that's
Brewing
true or not.
Dude, I believe it's in Watsonville.
Which is maybe close to where we live.
No, Paso Robles. That's not far from here.
I have no idea where that is.
I think they have some sort of hub in Watsonville because I've seen it driving.
Oh, really?
There's a bunch of Firestone trucks.
Dan David says that playthrough of Morgan and Frederick is beyond fire. It is. And if you haven't listened to Frederick Thorndall's Special Defects, Soul Niger Within full album,
then get fucked.
Then don't talk to me.
Chaney, you just said 5 minutes ago that you don't understand when people are like, oh, you missed this.
Yeah, I'm a gatekeeper of the one album.
Yeah.
And I'm saying if you don't know the album, you need to hip yourself to it and then come and talk to me. Josiah Robinson, when y'all gonna pressure the All Shall Perish boys to make that new? Finally home. This is definitely sarcasm, but also kind of serious. I think they're pressuring, right?
I don't know. We had Zach on here, or who records them. It's kind of like spilling the
Also,
beans
we
on.
love Ben. Ben,
Go back and listen to that episode.
Prince. Ben, if you guys don't know Ben Oram, he has a merch company called We Need Merch, and he prints a ton of Entheos merch. And
shout out to We Need Merch.
Shout out to We Need Merch. And he prints a shirt. He printed a shirt that we're going to release next week. So that is limited edition.
That limited edition.
Estes said lots of stuff is blocked in Iraq. You need a VPN usually. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. To see stuff, but it's all still limited. Oh, that's really interesting. But it's awesome being home again. I can play my drums, drink beer, and maybe play shows again. Hell yeah to all of that. Welcome home, man.
Yeah, glad you made it back.
Yeah, glad you made it back.
Glad you made it back.
Very glad. And that you can play fucking drums again, man. And drink beer.
Definitely.
And maybe play shows. 3 things that I really like doing.
I wonder what the order of importance is there. The beer's at the top.
For sure. Then
we're going
drums.
Then drums. Then shows.
Probably.
I don't know. You know what's really weird about me? I love playing shows, but it was always sort of like something that I wasn't as into as the music creation part.
I know what you mean.
It's kind of like, I think if someone was like, oh, you can never play a show again, I wouldn't be like, bedridden with depression. I'd be like, all right.
On the other hand, if someone told me that I could never write music or make music
yeah,
again,
that would be problematic.
That might lead to darkness.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. So for me, it was really more about the creating the music.
Yeah, totally.
And that's really that's honestly the thing that I like to do by far the most. I'll just, and you can really just see what is most important to you by what you do on a daily basis.
Right.
And for me, just like writing riffs and playing guitar and stuff and drums to that material is something I would just do in place of like playing video games. It's not something that I have to like force myself to do. It's just a fun ass thing to do.
Absolutely. Dylan, I think your name's Dylan, or Dylan. I think it's Dylan. McCarley, is Frederick and Morgan's accents really deep? Would they be listenable for an English podcast?
So we've talked to Morgan quite a bit at NOM, and he's got not that much of an accent.
Yeah, no, it'd be
fine. I don't know Frederick that well. Not that well. Chaney and I have encountered him one time.
With Rudy. There's a picture that we took.
We took a picture, and this was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think he said anything.
I don't know if he did.
Yeah, so.
But
I don't know.
No, I think.
I have no idea.
And you know what? Fuck it. We'll put on captions. Closed captions.
What about the people who are listening only? Have a little narration? I would think that people in Sweden probably speak really good English. Probably better than we do.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Assumption.
Yeah, and that's all, folks.
That's all.
I think that's probably the end of the podcast.
Oh, you want to wrap it up here, Chaney?
Let's wrap it up. We've got
that was
some
a
stuff
bumpy
to do
ride.
tonight.
It was a little bit of a bumpy ride.
It was a little bit. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us, asking questions. Jack, Dan, Patrick, David, Josiah, Vanessa. Estes, our boy who was just in the service and just got home. Of course, Isaac, Steve, Dylan, everyone. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
for
y'all
hanging
rule.
out. Jamie, love y'all.
Appreciate
Have a good
y'all.
night. All right, beer is number 1, Estes says. Drums are number 2.
That's smart, man.
Shows are good for hanging out.
I love this guy.
Agreed. Let's hang out, man. Have a good night.